Welcome everybody to the Minsan Football Show, brought to you by Upstream Sports TV. I'm Jing Hamlang. I'm your host today. Look a little bit different from the usual host, but he is busy. So the usual suspects are here, except for Clara Manzano, who has abandoned us for 1 week and 1 week only, we hope. But to my left are some of the usual individuals who have been keeping a close eye on everything PFL. So let's say hello to Natasha Arqueros Deito.
Hello.
As well as Diego Cordero, who is here today. We're going to have a great time talking about the previous games that transpired just over the weekend. Philippines Football League, we had 5 great games to talk about, and we've got 5 games to look forward to. So a lot to talk about today. All right, so as mentioned last time, sa episode namin on the Minsan Football Show, every week gagawin namin to. Basta may laro sa weekend. All right, so this is going to be the case over the next weekend. So welcome back to the show. All right, so before anything else, we would like to thank our drinks partner, Thirst. Yeah, so you can kick off with savings this football season. Use code PFL2025 on the Thirst app for special discounts. Thirst is the Philippines' only beverage marketplace, so download the Thirst app today or wherever you get your apps. All right? Download it now. So to open this episode, let's talk about the previous match results. A lot to talk about on this one, and we're going to start things off with Saturday's matches. There were 3 of them. Started off with Tuloy versus Maharlika. We had One Taguig versus Dynamic Herb Cebu, and then it was capped off with a match between Kaya FC Iloilo and Aguilas UMAC FC. Diego, you had the opportunity to call 2 of those matches, so let's get started right away. Tuloy FC up against Maharlika FC. Before the match, we were talking about this as a great way na makita natin what to expect from these 2 teams moving forward in this competition. Maharlika revamped, Tuloy FC coming back into this competition, and with a lot more experience now under their belt. I'm going to throw it to Diego first because he had the opportunity to call this game. So Diego, what did you think of the contest? There was a lot of hype around Maharlika FC, and you were speaking to the coach, and he said, panoorin nyo na lang, right? To see what to expect from us. So what did you, take away from that match?
Yeah, for both teams siguro, signs of encouragement but also signs of where they could improve. For Maharlika, they did get the 3 points, and when you start the season, I think the most important thing, first and foremost, is the 3 points, which they got. So Maharlika will be obviously the happier of the 2 teams. But for Tuloy, they can be proud after sitting out 1 full season, they can be proud that the moment they came back, they gave a good account of themselves. So it was a very exciting match filled with goals. Actually, the same scoreline that when these 2 teams also opened their season 2 seasons ago, it was also 3-2 win to Maharlika, so a nice bit of symmetry there. But yeah, here we see the highlights. A lot of goals from Maharlika from similar scenarios. So yeah, 3 set pieces, 3 goals, and that is clearly where they identified Tuloy's weakness to be, and they took advantage of it, so fair play to them. Tuloy, on the other hand, we know how they're going to play every game. It's going to be possession-based, and they showed it again there. They didn't get any points to show for it, but they'll be feeling that a similar performance on other teams might get them more success.
Can I cut you off for a moment here just to enjoy that goal there from Michael Menzi? And I love how he was like, nah, man, you guys are not celebrating hard enough about how good this goal is. Like, he's getting pretty hyped about it, and rightly so. Please continue, but that was a great goal from Michael Menzi.
It wasn't Mike Menzi scored a brace, so congratulations to him. But not only that, it was the same assist twice. It was from that left-footed delivery from, I believe it was Kang. And then the 3rd goal was also from a corner. So it's clearly something that they're really good at, Maharlika, and it's going to be something that will help them this season. So yeah, in general, signs of encouragement for both of these teams.
Of course, not all positives para sa Maharlika. They did concede 2 goals against Tuloy. Ang sabi nga ni Diego, there are some promising signs from Tuloy. So you look at this matchup, 3-2. Obviously, Maharlika will be the happier of the 2 sides. But what's your takeaway from that opening of our triple header on Saturday?
When you think of Tuloy, especially in that first game, you feel that they belong in the PFL. They show that they belong here. They gave such a good fight, and they scored at such critical moments. at the end of the first and towards the end of the game. So you know that they can be dangerous. They're very resilient, and they can break down. You saw it. They had a lot of attempts. They were building up really well. What they lacked was being clinical in front of goal. But in terms of chances created and holding possession, they have the chess pieces, the puzzles, to be able to become a better team. And it's so exciting to see from such a young team to be able to put on the fight against Maharlika. Yeah, Maharlika got the one, but when you saw the post-game interviews, they weren't very happy with the win. They feel like they should have done better.
Right.
So that's how good Maharlika was in their opening fixture.
Shout out to Tuloy FC, by the way. Really struggled in their first season in the PFL, but you see what that experience does to these organizations. They could suffer one year, but they understand now what it takes to compete at this level. So they kept it close. Great way to start off our Saturday set of matches, all right? So the second one was one of the highlights. Of course, a lot of people were really looking forward to this one. Anong makikita natin mula sa One Taguig FC? They created a lot of hype just before the matches by releasing their lineups, and it was a lot of big names on their ticket, and then they're up against a dynamic Herb Cebu side who are now playing international football. So was this a surprise? Of course, One Taguig walking away with a victory on this one, 2-1. I'm going to start off with you, Natasha, on this one. Were you surprised by what you saw in this scoreline? Because I feel like going into this game, given what Cebu have been able to do in the last couple of seasons, that perhaps they had the edge in terms of being the favorites, but not by much, and One Taguig showed exactly why.
So on paper, coming into this match, I mean, you could also tell by our predictions, like we all got it wrong. Because on paper and in terms of preparation, Dynamic Herb had all the advantages coming into this game. But One Taguig showed it where it mattered most, which is in the game. And from the get-go, from the moment this game started, they were the more aggressive team. They had so many more chances. They played very cohesive football. And eventually, they got the goal right before the end of the first half. And that's also what pushed them to have that advantage coming into the second half and then scoring right away, right at the start of the second half. Eventually, Cebu found the rhythm. They got into the game, but it was too late. By the time that they were able to score, it was already a consolation goal. So it's great to see the competition that Taguig put in this matchup. And as we said, that we expect a lot from a team like One Taguig.
Yeah.
We expect them to be title contenders. And from that first outing, it's proving to be a season that this first game against Cebu could be something that they could really build on, especially with their signings. You signed Patrick Reichel, a veteran not only for the national team, but in club football as well. And he scores on his opening fixture. So that boosts the confidence not only of Kiki, but of the One Taguig team as well.
Yeah, so let's talk about that real quickly before we discuss Cebu. Of course, Patrick Reichel and Andres Aldeguer were the two goal scorers for basically two completely different, two opposite players, right? One who is still very young, Patrick Reichel, who is extremely seasoned, one who has been retained in the lineup with One Taguig over the course of the last few seasons, and an individual in Patrick Reichel who has just come in. Diego, what are your thoughts on the performances that were shown by these individuals, and who stood out to you in this contest?
Yeah, actually, a very impressive performance from the whole 11. It was a really cohesive and well-drilled performance, which is why they got the win. If you said before this game that a lot of these players would be making their first appearance for One Taguig, I wouldn't believe you after watching this game because it looked like they've already been there for some time. So as you mentioned, Reichelt on his opening day, Aldeguer, very impressive. But across the whole field, I thought the performances were really good. You saw at center back, Stephen Halm, first game after signing from Stallion. You saw the likes of Casemiro. Also saw the likes of Olivias, who, let's not forget, is a very talented player who got retained by One Taguig. We saw amazing performances across the whole team. And Reichelt and Aldeguer will get the credit because obviously they scored the goals. But it was really a really cohesive and really a very well-drilled and a very, very perfect start for One Taguig because they had to get a really good start because their schedule is really tough. So it's good that they made this statement win over a team that already played three high-quality games this season. So if you said before this game who would be the more fitter of the two, the prediction would have been Cebu. But they were outrun by Wantagig FC.
So kudos to Scott Cooper and getting the boys prepared for this one. Man of the match was Patrick Reichelt in that game, and you can see he was very emotional after the final whistle. He seems to be in a different place now, and he's really enjoying and savoring the moment of being back in the Philippines. And Andres Aldeguer, a goal and an assist to his name. So a great start to Wantagig. However, for Cebu, warning signs, perhaps, for them that you dropped this match? And what can you say about the level of the performance outside of the result? Is it a point of bother for the coach? Or if you were a supporter of Cebu, are you worried at this point, or is it too early to tell?
For me, if I would be a Cebu supporter, I wouldn't worry just too much yet. Again, they did end up scoring late on in the match. It's Rico Andes again, actually, who's already been scoring a lot of goals for them in the Shopee Cup. So he continues his fine form. And so did Jeridi of Cebu, who continued with another fine performance. And there were some decent performances here and there for Cebu. It might be a case of on the day itself, they just weren't at it. That will have to be the message also of Coach Glenn Ramos, because their schedule is also tough for this opening round, and he'll want to get his boys back up and running again, because you can't afford to drop much points, especially in 6-pointers like this, because the way the league is formatted means that every point is going to matter at the end. So for Cebu, not ideal, but they have to pick themselves right up after. And I think they will naman in the end.
We're going to talk about next weekend's fixtures in just a little bit, but of course there was a third match on that Saturday, and Kaya FC Iloilo, the defending champions, taking on the Aguilas UMAC FC. Highly anticipated contest because everybody was looking forward to being able to gauge ano ba ipapakita ng bagong Aguilas na to. They completely revamped their lineup, barring one or two mainstays. But they're up against the defending champions in this one, and Kaya FC Iloilo were able to get 3 points, but perhaps not in the way that people were expecting. Just a 1-0 victory for Kaya. Natasha, surprised by that? What can you say about the performance of the two teams?
Well, when it comes to Aguilas, defensively, of course, they're a team that defend really well. I mean, especially from the last few seasons, you know that they're a team that's very hard to score against. But eventually, Kaya found a way. And I'm not surprised, eventually, because Kaya are in better forms. They have been playing together for quite some time now. And, I mean, they've had one game ahead of Aguilas. And this was Aguilas' first game. And when you think of even how the goal was scored, it came from a throw-in. A throw-in from Davao not Davao Aguilas, Aguilas UMAC. It was from a throw-in, and Kaya put on that high press. So they won the ball back, closer to the attacking third, able to bring that ball around, and that cross from Diano. That was perfect. That was a perfect cross. He did a similar cross given to Bedic in their first matchup, but it was offside. So it didn't count. You wouldn't have seen it in the highlights. But the goal that Kaya scored, the cross of Diano, that curling pass, and to find Mike Ott with that perfect header as well, that flick of the head, back of the net kind of thing, and it was to a T. Mike Ott is also not the tallest player, but the precision in all the way that it was a team goal, it's proving to show why Kaya are the defending champions.
Diano getting involved in the attack, fullbacks really involved in the attack for Kaya FC Iloilo. We saw that in the first game. We're seeing it again here in the second. But as that match wore on, especially in the second half, it wasn't one-way traffic, right? In fact, Aguilas were actually getting back into the game and showing what they were capable of. In terms of that outing against the defending champions, Diego, are you excited about what Aguilas will be bringing to the table this season?
Yeah, well, 0 points on the opening weekend, especially also because of their next fixture. But it's up now to Coach Jorg Steinebrunner to make sure that they focus on the positives that they had against Kaya, because there were positives. It was a performance that maybe if one or two things go their way, it's a draw, or maybe even they take all 3 points. So Coach Jorg will have to focus on that, and I think there's enough promise in that opening day performance to see that they're gonna be in and about the top of the table, or that race for the top 6 rather, come crunch time. So yeah, promising signs nonetheless for Aguilas UMAC. For Kaya though, again, perfect start so far to the season, 100% record. The only team to still have that after 2 games.
Right, right. I'm glad you said the coach's name because I felt like I was going to murder it. So could you say it for everybody?
So it's Jorg. I chat GPT'd on how to say it. I said, can you say this in a German accent? And chat GPT said Jorg Steinebrunner. So,
Steinebrunner.
yeah, so I think I might have butchered it. I might just call him Coach Jorg.
Yes, Coach Jorg. I think that's what we're going to go with moving forward. But I mean, promise from him. Of course, he was taking over the reins from a coach that was very highly regarded in Coach Aber. First game against defending champions. I don't think there is a bigger challenge for a coach to enter, and they didn't look out of place. So the Aguilas making a bit of a statement on opening day despite the lack of any points in that one. So that was Saturday. Let's move over to Sunday, where we had 2 games. Natasha and I had the opportunity and privilege to enjoy both of those matches. Let's start off with Philippine Army versus Valenzuela PB Mendiola, which is becoming easier and easier to say. Valenzuela PB Mendiola, it just rolls off now. But a 1-0 result for Valenzuela PB Mendiola. They are off the mark. They're basically equaled the total of, what was it, their previous season, where they only just got 1 win. So, whatever happens now is basically an improvement for them. But I was, in this match, more surprised and impressed by Philippine Army, despite them losing the game, because we saw some things that we've never seen before from Philippine Army. So, Natasha, would you say you agree with that statement?
100% agree. In terms of the style of play, I love the way that Army played. They were able to build up possession, especially coming from the goalkeeper. They were able to build it up. They were able to pass the ball around. The only thing that was lacking is their attacking third mindset. But besides that, this is a Army team that we haven't seen before, and it's very refreshing how they were able to switch up their style of play, and you hope that they continue to grow in this trajectory. But for Valenzuela PB Mendiola, at the end of the day, whoever scores the goal wins. Doesn't matter how nice you play, what matters is the point. And the best thing about them, well, the thing that I'm rooting for about them was that 39-year-old Balot Doctara is the one who scored the goal. So hats off to you for being the goal scorer, for leading that team, and for just also proving that age is just a number.
Yeah. Our man of the match.
Yeah.
By the way, he wasn't named officially the man of the match.
But our man of the match.
Of the game, he was taken off early in the second half. But I think had done enough to dictate the game and, of course, scored the goal as well. Valenzuela PB Mendiola, of course, a little bit unlucky to not be more than 1 goal up. He had some chances. Takardon put it on a plate for one of his teammates. Unfortunately, wasn't able to find the back of the net. But your assessment of this game, Diego, what did you think?
Yeah, again, congratulations to Valenzuela PB Mendiola for getting their first win. Again, it's always good to break through the first 3 points, especially in the first or second game of the season. And both of these teams lost last season, which is why both were very eager to get something on the board. In the end, it went to the way of Valenzuela PB Mendiola. But again, Army have signs of encouragement, and there are reasons to still be encouraged despite the fact that they've lost twice. But yeah, look at that finish once again from Balot Doctora. And yeah, I mean, what a figure in Philippine football. He's been around forever. And yeah, what a finish it was there to give Valenzuela PB Mendiola the 3 points. The only goal of the game, so the most important part of the game. And yeah, I think it was actually a game that both teams would have felt could have given them 3 points. In the end, it goes one way, but it could have easily gone another way on another day. But yeah, signs of encouragement for both teams going into the future fixtures.
When I see Balot Doctora play, I can't help but be inspired. You know, he's not the tallest of figures. He's about my height, and he's, able to throw his body around in midfield and score those types of goals. So More, please. Doctor, it's great to watch. Now, the main event on Sunday was Manila Digger versus Stallion, and what a game it was, guys, all right? This is the level of quality that we have been craving for in the Philippines Football League, and if we could get this week in, week out, we're going to be very happy, folks. Great game. 1-1 in the end. A lot of drama, a lot of physicality, a lot of great technique. I think it delivered a little bit of everything that you're looking for in a football match. What was your take on this one, Manila Digger versus Stallion?
What was surprising was how quickly the foreigners of Stallions picked up, and they all played so well. Which again goes to show, continues to what we've talked about when it comes to Stallion. The way that they're able to recruit, their scouting process is really fantastic because they're really always able to bring in players from abroad, bring them to the PFL, and to really elevate the level and the quality of the league. And the foreigners did just that for the side of Stallion Laguna. You know, they got the goal early in that second half. Again, Diallo, first game, first appearance, and already a goal to his name. So it's great work from Stallion Laguna, but eventually Manila Digger, you know, that never say die mentality, they were so resilient at the very end, ended up getting an equalizer.
It was heartbreak for Stallion Laguna. It looked like they were well-deserved in getting the 3 points, but you know, football can be cruel at times, and Manila Digger did not give in, and they got their just rewards in the end. Did you get an opportunity to watch the game, and what was your feeling when that goal by Watanabe hits the back of the net, Diego?
Well, probably our favorite for goal of the season so far in the PFL. Yeah, what a volley. It took a moment of absolute brilliance to level the scoring. Actually, both goals in this game were brilliant in itself. Diallo's goal, you can see that he grew up playing football in a very competitive and high quality environment. The way he takes it, fake shot, and then slots it into the far corner. You can tell he's good, and he's gonna be a successful signing. And but the second goal of the match, the equalizing goal, at the dying moments, to be able to pull that out, I'm sure Watanabe watched that goal back about 1 million times. It took 2 moments of absolute magic for goals to be scored in this match because it was so even, and these two teams just hacking away at each other, quite literally, in the end. Very exciting, and if there's going to be one full round of matches like this, I'm going to be very excited. But even for now, in the first 2 rounds, I am so excited to see games of this quality. 2 teams that want to be up there, 2 teams that want to go for the title and want to qualify for international competition. Again, Manila Digger already achieved that. They're going to meet in the Challenge Cup sometime within this season. But what a match, and I hope we see more of this.
We're going to discuss the league table in just a bit, but very quickly, guys. The reason why that goal was scored in the 98th minute was because there was 10 minutes of added time. Magson got hit with Magson Dorado, right? One of the players of Stallion came on as a substitute, but was delivered cleats to the face. A bouncing ball. Granted, the guy was looking for the ball, and it's on our screen here now. And he ended up trying to stoop for the ball and just got studs to the face. And man, it looked rough. And he needed to get treatment right away, went into an ambulance, was sent to the hospital. Yellow card was the call on that one. What did you guys think? Do you think that was deserved a harsher punishment? Or was the reason, or because Magson dropped his head to try to stoop for the ball, yellow card was warranted? Give me your take on this one.
I think that should have been a red card. I 100% believe that we've given red cards for much less, but for what happened, the series of events of how that happened, and that there was full legit contact. You saw the blood. I mean, they were there on the pitch. Matt Nieres gave that sign to
replace immediately.
And the referee at that moment could have actually changed his decision. And that's also why during that game, I also said that, if we had VAR, video assistant referee, then it would be also easier to look back at moments like this. You gave a yellow, you can look at it, assess it a bit more, and then realize, that was a red after all.
Yeah.
But of course, we do not have VAR. But yeah, I think that it really should have been a red card. And Manila Digger were lucky that it was only a yellow. So they ended up still having all 11 of their players. And eventually, after that, it did change the game because they were able to get an equalizer at the 90 plus 8th minute.
Yeah. The thing that gets me in this one, when you look at the replay, is that the referee's right there.
Yeah.
He's watching it. He's 2, 3, 5 feet away from it right there. And that was the decision that he had. So, Diego, very quickly, your thoughts on that incident?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, get well soon to Maxon Dorado. But yeah, I thought it was going to be a red. The moment I saw the referee blow the whistle and reach into his pocket, I thought, okay, red to.
Yeah.
Because we've seen this given.
Yeah.
And as Natasha said, maybe VAR helps it become a red. But yeah, I really thought even from first glance that it would be given as a red. Hopefully, we don't have to discuss more of these decisions in the end because we want their game to be as fair as possible. But yeah, hopefully our players stay protected, and in the future we don't have to scrutinize these decisions any further. Again, it shows the call for VAR in the modern game. Again, head injuries are something we always want to avoid in football. So yeah, I really thought it should have been a red.
All right, there you got it from Natasha and Diego. I keep my mouth closed. All right. It's the perks of being the host, guys. All right. So let's move on to the league table. Things are starting to shape up. Of course, it's only been 2 match weeks, so not too much to discuss quite yet. Kaya FC Iloilo at the top with 6 points and a flawless 13 goal difference. Nothing conceded at the moment. Manila Digger just behind them, able to rescue a point. So they're at 4. Maharlika is at 3. In third place, guys. That's not somewhere you normally see Maharlika. One Taguig is in 4th. Valenzuela PB Mendiola also up there with 3. Meanwhile, Stallion only with 1 in 6th place. Then all the teams that have yet to score any points. You've got Aguilas in 7th. Dynamic Herb Cebu FC in 8th. Tuloy in 9th. Philippine Army in 10th. And the only team yet to see any action, Don Bosco Garelli United, which will be a great segue into our next weekend's matches as we discuss that. Okay? But first, I'd like to ask you guys a question, and I am very excited to see what you guys have to say on this one. What's your favorite PFL moment? All right? I'm talking from 2017 up to 2025, okay? So we encourage everybody to comment and let us know what you think. And while we wait for your responses to come in, I'm gonna throw it over to Diego. Seniority. Throw it to the young one. Diego, what's your favorite PFL moment so far?
Not a specific moment, but probably every time I got to watch my favorite player live in Rizal Memorial. Every time I got to see Phil Young Husband, my favorite player. And every time I would watch him in Rizal Memorial, you just watch him and you're shocked at how good he is. He's playing here in Rizal Memorial. Probably my favorite player to follow growing up. Obviously, he was here even before the PFL was rebranded into the PFL, and I was following him already. But I could never get tired of him. So every time he played in Rizal Memorial, whether it was for the PFL, for the national team, whatever, if he's in Rizal Memorial, I'm gonna be watching that game. And yeah, he was probably my favorite PFL memory in general.
Awesome. Yeah, Phil Young Husband.
That's legit.
Yeah, no, that's great. Fantastic. Natasha, what about you?
Since I can't think of a specific moment, I'll say that at the moment, my favorite was the PFL bubble during the pandemic time, because it was really hard. It was really rough, but somehow, everyone was able to pull strings, pull some magic, and in 2020, we were able to have a PFL season.
Right.
That was really hard to be able to pull off with COVID and everything, but we were able to salvage and have a season that year. So I think that that's one of my favorite PFL moment, is just the fact that in good and bad times, man, like they'll really try to push through for the love of the game and to make sure that they can give everyone at home something to watch and cheer for.
Yeah,
What's yours?
100%. No, 100%. I agree with that one. To me, that was really, really encouraging to see the Philippine football community come together at a time when you felt it was pretty hopeless. But they managed to, put all of their efforts together to still have a season. So that was fantastic to see. For me, personally, it would be. I'm gonna cheat like Diego. I'm gonna have two. Actually, I'm gonna have two because one was basically it revolves around the matchups with Ceres and Kaya. Those were my favorite games. They were just so incredible. Like they were the most competitive games that I've enjoyed in a very long time. It reminded me of Manchester United versus Arsenal back in like the early 2000s, where you could see that it meant more than just the result. This is not just about 3 points, it's about pride, it's about, there was beef, legitimate beef between the teams. And it was just so, how should you say, palpable, like there was fireworks on the pitch. There was one game in Panaad that was basically in a pool, like it had rained so hard, but the players, they just kept killing each other on the pitch, and I absolutely loved it. And then the second one was in Iloilo, the biggest crowd ever at the Iloilo Sports Complex. To come to Iloilo as a fresh team, freshly moved there, the efforts that we had to go through to bring the crowd there, to set the field up, to have a great game like that, and to hear the Iloilo crowd going nuts. For me, it was just really, really fulfilling because there was a lot of work that we put into that. So, yeah, I don't think the result went our way, but, as is the case with Ceres most of the time. But
I'll add one more as well to that. In terms of crowd, I remember for a moment, it was Global Cebu.
Yeah.
So I watched the game there, and it was Global versus Stallion. Global won at that time, but it was just the atmosphere in the stadium, and I wish that could be recreated again with moments like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was like one of my favorites also. That was like one of the biggest crowds that I've seen beyond the ones in Ceres.
Right.
Yeah.
Pagbigyan nyo na kami, guys. Medyo matagal na kami kasama ng PFL, so it's hard to pick just one. So from the chat, this goes to, how do you pronounce that, guys? Calvisef, all right? Manila Monte's first goal, and the chat going wild. That was quite a moment when Montet scored. This one with Bisdux. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Last weekend's match between Kaya and Aguilas. GOAT officiating. Is this sarcastic?
I'm not too sure. I didn't cover that game.
Eat, sleep, breathe football. Last match of the season, PFL 2024. Kaya FC Iloilo versus Loyola FC. Guard of honor. Didn't care about the match. Just savor that moment. Di naman halatang Kaya fans to J. No, really, because Kaya and Loyola had a great rivalry. So to see that, I'm sure, was quite a treat for the Kaya fans. Chino Sator, not PFL, but Bedik's winning goal in the first Copa final. Funny story about
That's
that.
the one against Davao, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Incredible moment. I was part of Kaya's staff, but couldn't be at the game because I was hosting a wedding. So it was during the dinner break, and I'm just going nuts in the back, and nobody understood why. I'm grabbing shoulders. I'm like, guys, I think we're gonna win this. Yeah, what a moment. And then the celebrations after that. We got home. I don't know, but it was great. A fantastic moment. Diet Fonso, PFL 2017. Shout out to Joaquin. Miguel Tanton subbed in for Kaya and scored from the halfway line. First touch, by the way. He just come on. Yeah, amazing.
Was this a new Mac?
It was a new Mac. Yeah.
At least I'm remembering the details. I was like, that was a new Mac.
I think Joaquin, who sent that in, was actually the stadium announcer at the time. So well done to you. Yes, so, it's great to remember these things. Sometimes you forget that so many great moments have already happened in the PFL. Sometimes I forgot that Phil Young husband, was part of the league and such a big part of making it such a huge occasion wherever they went, All right, so anyhow, thank you guys for the responses. We appreciate it all. We're going to move on to this weekend's matches, September 20 and the 21st. We've got a triple header on a Saturday and a double header on Sunday. Everything's going to transpire at the Rizal Memorial Football Stadium. We look forward to seeing you all there. Let's start off with Tuloy versus DB Gareli United. 3 o'clock on Saturday. Tuloy has already shown promise. DB Gareli United, first game of the season. It feels like it's a great sort of gauge to see just how good Tuloy is going to be against a young or a new Gurali side, and also we are quite excited to see what Gurali is going to provide now that they're coming back after a season-long hiatus. Expectations, guys?
Well, if you think about all the teams that went on hiatus and then are now back, everyone that has come back, they all came back stronger. But even with all the other teams, let's say the likes of Wantagig, Stallion, even UMAC Agin. I'm gonna nail this. I promise. I'm gonna stop butchering this. It's just I've just been around the one. So like every team has bulked up, and so I have high hopes for DB Garelli United that they've done the same. So it's going to be exciting to see them, but also at the same time, it's going to be exciting to see how Tuloy continue on that form that they had in their first game. They didn't get the win, but they got 2 goals in their first game against Maharlika. So it's something to build on to go up against DB Garelli United.
Diego?
I've actually seen rumors somewhere online that there's a certain Marvin Angeles who's going to be playing with DB Garelli. Whether or not that's true, we will let DB Garelli themselves confirm. But yeah, this is going to be an exciting one, Tuloy, because we know how they're going to play. They're going to be eye-catching. They're going to play football on the ground, try to play around and through their opponents. DB Garelli United, a bit of a wild card, again, because they're quote-unquote unscouted, because they haven't played yet this season. The only team out of the 11 to still not play in the PFL. So I think it's an opportunity for both sides to get their first 3 points. Tuloy, because they'll say, we could have gotten it last week, we didn't, let's get it this weekend. And Don Bosco Garelli will say, we've been out for a season, but we want to show that we still belong here, and what better way to do that than to get 3 points on the opening day. So I think this is going to be a very close one, actually.
And the one thing that perhaps will play in the side of Garelli, despite them not being able to see any matches, is that they had that extra time to gel, bring their team together, and really operate in the manner that they want to. And also, we've heard some good things in preseason. So here we go, time to really see what DB Garelli United are all about. That's the curtain raiser on Saturday. And then we've got quite a game, folks. Stallion Laguna FC, fresh from a very impressive performance in their last outing against Manila Digger. Perhaps they are going to be feeling a little bit heartbroken by the result that they received. A Dynamic Herb Cebu, similarly so, coming fresh from a bit of a disappointing one in the game against Wantagig. 2 teams extremely motivated to try to get 3 points on the board. They're going to be, you expect, kind of closely matched. It's going to be a very competitive affair. Thoughts going into this one?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a really close match. It's going to be a nail-biter between these 2 teams. They're going to be extra hungry, trying to prove a point. For Stallion, they want to get back from the draw, feeling that they deserve the full 3 points. And for Dynamic Herb Cebu, for sure, they're going to want to get back on winning ways. So this game is going to be really one to watch out for, especially we know how physical Stallion and Cebu can be. So I really think it's going to be a very physical matchup between these 2 teams.
For those that enjoy a bit of a physical affair, I know I do, this is definitely going to be one to tune into. You've had a chance now to see sort of like the key players of both teams. Are there any matchups in particular, Diego, aside from your general preview of this game that you're looking forward to?
In particular, I'm going to be excited to watch Diallo, who scored last weekend up against the 2 center backs of Stallion. That's going to be quite something to watch. Again, Diallo off a goal, so he's going to want to show himself against another top 6 predicted team in his second game. Again, I was going to mention it, but Dan and Chino, also from the half space, so shout out to the half space, brought it up already. Dan says at least 1 red card, and then Chino goes one step further and says more red cards than goals. Whether or not that will end up happening, we'll see on Saturday. But yeah, that whole red card thing is more of an indicator really of how physical this game is going to be. It's going to be rough. It's going to be incredible to watch for the neutral. And I wouldn't be surprised if, like last weekend's game for Stallion, if it's a moment of magic that breaks the deadlock or brings the game back level. Because with two teams that are so evenly matched, like what we saw from Stallion and Manila Digger, it took a moment of magic twice for something to actually happen in that game. And I wouldn't be surprised if for this game, it's similar. So it's a question of who's gonna provide the magic to separate the two teams, because right now I really can't separate them.
One thing is for sure, Stefan Schrock is not going to be providing
Yeah.
any magic. Right?
Yeah. But the other one also is Landreth, the goalkeeper of the new signing
Oh, that's
of
right.
Stallion. I think that he played really well against Manila Digger. He made those 1v1 saves. He was good at his feet, and even his distribution was really good. The goal, though, that was scored against him, there was nothing you could do about
Yeah.
that. That was world class from Watanabe. So besides that, I think that he's been such a positive signing for the side of Stallion Laguna.
100%. Just to mention, Stefan Schrock not going to be available. Pulled up with a hamstring early in the game. Was substituted at halftime, or before halftime actually. But then they received a red card on the bench. I really wish we had mics on
Yeah.
the bench. I wanted to hear what he had to say. It must have been nice to earn himself a direct red from the bench. That is quite a feat. So he will not be available, but actually provided quite a few interesting moments with passes in behind and stuff. So MJ Libre was the man who was tasked with replacing him. I wonder who Coach Ernie Llanes will choose to anchor that midfield and provide a little bit of a spark in the middle. So something to look out for. All right. And then of course we still have the final matchup, the third and final one of the evening, 8:30 p.m. That one kicks off. Manila Digger FC will be hoping to get back on track after getting 3 points on opening weekend, only a point against Stallion in their second outing, but they're up against a Maharlika side that are on a high at the moment. So Diego, I'm going to start off with you. Is this going to be a close game, in your opinion?
I actually think so. What impressed me from Maharlika in their win against Tuloy was their ability to allow the other team to have possession but not let it trouble them. So I was seeing it at times where they were just setting up on the counter. And for a team that wants to be hard to beat, to be pragmatic against teams that want to dominate possession, you need to be compact, you need to be solid, and they were that. On the other hand, if you're going to be like that, you still need to go forward and score goals. And Maharlika actually have a good blueprint because they're compact, they're solid, but they take advantage of set pieces, which is exactly how you have to play if you're going to play that more defensive side. I think we're going to see a lot of defending from Maharlika against the team that is expected to dominate in Manila Digger, but I think we're going to see a lot of counter-attacking also from Maharlika. We saw them do that against Tuloy. So this is gonna be one to watch because, again, Maharlika's goal this season is to break into that championship round in the third round later this season. And if you're gonna break into that round, you have to show that you belong in that round. And what better way to do that than to show a statement against the team who finished second last season and the team who showed a lot of firepower to get back on level with another top 6 predicted team in Stallion. So for Maharlika, if you're gonna talk the walk or walk the talk,
There you go.
Yeah, there you got it.
if you're gonna do that, you have to show it here.
Yes. Yeah, you're going to need to get points for the top 6 if you want to break into the top 6. Do you think this is possible in this game? And one thing that we did notice against from Manila Digger in their last outing was, they weren't firing on all cylinders against Stallion. We had a very quiet game from CC, which was a bit of a shock in that game. What version of Manila Digger are you expecting to come out against Maharlika? And do you think Maharlika has a chance?
I think that Manila Digger will have the advantage, like what Diego said. They will have the advantage in terms of they are the stronger team. I do believe that they are the stronger team. But if Maharlika can hold their own defensively, not make the same lapses as what they did against Tuloy, learn from that, and if they're solid defensively, they will find those small moments and they have to capitalize. They won't have as many chances, but they need to capitalize on those small chances, on those few chances that they will get in the game. And as he said, against Tuloy, it was their set piece opportunities. They were able to capitalize through set pieces. But also, Tuloy aren't the tallest of players. They don't have any foreigners.
Right.
So it's not like they were defending against 5'8", 5'9", 6'1", 6-foot players.
Manila Digger,
So
a little bit different in the
Yeah.
height category. You know what I
So
mean?
it's going to be a test as well if set piece wise is that really one of their strengths, or is it only a strength when they're playing against not so tall players?
Right. So you guys are seeing kind of a closer game between these two. It's not going to be a blowout.
Yeah.
No.
It won't be.
No. Okay. All right. That's signs of progress from Maharlika, because in the past, perhaps, the predictions would have been different. So before we move on, special thank you to our drinks partner, Thirst. Thank you to them. Kick off with savings this football season. Use code PFL2025 on the Thirst app for special discounts. Thirst is the Philippines' only beverage marketplace, so download the Thirst app today wherever you get your apps. We've still got 2 more matches to discuss on the 21st of September. You have a choice. Gusto mo protesta or gusto mo manood ng football. Pwede nyo gawin pareho.
Protesta sa umaga. Tapos.
Sa umaga. Let your voice be heard. It's up to you guys. There are, of course, a lot of news circulating about this, but the matches are going to go ahead. That's what our understanding is. So make sure that if you guys are interested in the matchups we're going to be breaking down, that you make your way over to the Rizal Memorial Stadium. It starts off with the defending champions and the only team that has kept a perfect record. They've got 6 points on the table. They're looking to make it 9. Kaya FC Iloilo takes on Valenzuela PB Mendiola. A game that on paper you would expect very easily to go to the defending champions, but Valenzuela PB Mendiola showed some signs of positivity against Manila Digger, and then built on that by taking their first 3 points against Philippine Army. It could have been a lot more than just 1-0 against Philippine Army, it has to be said. But again, this is a big test, right? So when you're looking at it on paper, there's quite a discrepancy, but maybe you guys have a scenario where it's not so one-sided. How do you guys feel about this one?
The strikers have to be on point. So the likes of Ano and Fayol, they need to be playing their best for them to get some points, shave off some points against Kaya FC Iloilo. I think that attacking-wise, that again, it's going to be similar to my prediction with the Maharlika Manila Digger game, wherein that you will have few moments in the game, but you have to be clinical in those few chances that they do get. Because if they don't, then it could be an open game and it could be fully in Kaya's way.
Diego?
Yeah, you mentioned it. On paper, this is going to go one way. But my favorite saying actually is that football is not played on paper, it's played on grass.
Right.
So actually a factor
Artificial turf in the case of the Philippines, but you know what it means, right?
Actually, on Kaya, one of the reasons why this could not be as straightforward as we think it might be is because Kaya play tomorrow.
Exactly.
They play a very big game tomorrow,
Yeah.
far away. So there's travel involved. They play far in the new Clark City Stadium. They're going to play against the Tampines Rovers from Singapore tomorrow at 6 p.m., I believe. And yeah, that will be in New Clark City Stadium. That's for the ACL 2. And if they don't win that match,
Yeah.
or even if they do, Natasha, you would probably know as a former player, but it's hard when there's a game on the Thursday, tapos sa Sunday,
Yeah.
may game na ulit. So there's a chance that either we see a fatigued Kaya team or we see a completely rotated Kaya team. Either way, one or the other, it's not ideal. And that might be why Valenzuela PB Mendiola might have slightly more of a chance than we give them credit for. Because, again, either it's a fully rotated team or it's a tired team, there's a chance that they won't be at 100% because Thursday, Sunday, that's a brutal schedule. Thursday against a foreign team in a major competition. And then Sunday, you don't want to lose also because the table's going to be tight.
Yeah.
So you have to prioritize both. You can't pick one or the other. And that's why this matchup, obviously on paper, it's Kaya's, but when it actually happens, you can't really be sure of that. And there's just a little window of uncertainty which Valenzuela PB will have to exploit. That's how they're gonna do anything from this game.
That is a smooth segue into that ACL2 plug,
Right?
man. That is
I had to bring it up.
Completely forgot. Galing.
smooth as butter, sir. Well
Clara
done.
would have told me to to remind it.
Quality. That is where Claro Manzano is. Our good friend is, by the way, he's in New Clark City, living in the athletes' village, doing AFC work, doing, making sure that everybody knows what's going on over there in New Clark City. We wish Kaya FC Iloilo all the best in that ACL2 encounter against Tampines Rovers. Difficult matchup, but a great test against a team from Singapore who, shouldn't be too far of a level away from what Kaya FC Iloilo is capable of. So, great contest to look forward to. That is on Thursday, tomorrow evening, and then up against Valenzuela PB Mendiola on the Sunday. All right, let's move on to the next one then. All right, 7 o'clock. This one is a big game, massive one. Wantagig FC, fresh from victory, going up against Aguilas UMAC FC. There hasn't been a lot of history between these two teams, but in the times that they have played against one another, it's been fireworks between these two teams. So I imagine the excitement level is pretty high heading into this Sunday's encounter.
Definitely. For Wantagig FC, they proved everyone wrong that they can start strong right away, that they don't need that time. They are veteran players, and this is what players of that caliber can do. They can show up on the field, get the win, and that's exactly what they did. So they're going to be on this high momentum coming in a game against Aguilas UMAC FC, that they already have a win in the bag, and they're going to want to continue on that good form. For Aguilas UMAC FC, this week it's really going to be all about shooting, honestly, and taking advantage of those set pieces, corners, and trying to get their scoring boots on as they face Wantagig FC.
I love that Wantagig is getting thrown into the fire immediately, taking on Cebu, and then now Aguilas, 2 back-to-back tough matchups. You'd imagine that the motivation levels for the players is going to be extremely high. But Aguilas, of course, didn't get any points in their last outing, but they did enough to, I would say, turn some head, raise some eyebrows that these guys are here to play. They're possibly a potential top 6 kind of team in the level of performance that they've shown against the defending champions. Do you think they get their first points here, Diego, or is it going to be a step too far against this Wantagig side that is, obviously on a high?
Well, honestly, this one I also can't predict. I was actually looking at some research, and historically, these teams have met each other 3 times. One time it was a draw, the other time it was a Wantagig win, and the other time it was Aguilas UMAC win.
Yeah.
So there's a chance for either side to get one over the other. For Wantagig, they have to prove that what happened last week was not a fluke.
Right.
They have to prove that right away they can get good results against 2 direct rivals in the top 6. So yeah, they'll be eager to prove that what they did last week was what we're going to see from them consistently. Actually, it's a bit similar also to Aguilas UMAC, even though they didn't get the 3 points or even 1 point. They have to prove that their good showing against Kaya will translate to points in other direct encounters with their top 6 rivals. And I think, there's going to be a lot of interesting duels here. I think there's also a possibility that we'll see another red card here. Again, with these heavyweight encounters, they're really physical. I think there's a lot of promise also that from Aguilas UMAC side, we saw promising performances from the likes of Nathaniel Hancock was impressive, and he'll be eager to show that he can lead the likes of his teammates to points against their direct rivals. I think, honestly, everything about this match to me screams a draw because I really can't separate it.
Right.
And like the other top 6 predicted encounter on Saturday, I think if there is going to be a winner in this match, I can't call it because it's going to come from, again, a moment of magic is what's going to separate these 2 teams.
It should be a great matchup in terms of the 2 individuals on the sideline as well. Coach Scott Cooper versus Coach Jorg. We'll see what kind of tactics they have in mind in order to get the better of one another. Oh, one last thing. We did get an update on Kaya FC Iloilo. Got a new signing on this one, so we might see a new face come into play in their defense. They've got a new foreign recruit from Denmark, if I'm not mistaken, a young left back. So a bit of a firepower, not firepower, but a bit more robustness in the back. Do you guys know anything about the new recruit here?
I also had to research on how to pronounce his name because it's Ravn. I found out the anglicized version is Raven. Or yeah, I think it's Raven. And then I'm not even gonna try the Danish pronunciation. But I saw somewhere that he played for the same club at one point. I'm not sure if it was the same time as Philippine men's national team center back, si Ugelvic. And at one point they played for a similar, the same club. I'm not sure at the same time, but he comes from a high environment of football in Denmark, and he's only 22. So it's youth, it's energy, and it's an addition at left back. So it's a position that needed filling out, and we'll probably see him tomorrow. I don't know if he was registered in time. There's all these rules, but we might see signs of encouragement from him specifically tomorrow. And yeah, he'll definitely help Kaya in their title defense.
Anything you wanted to add, Natasha?
Yeah, I guess because during the last segment, we talked about, Kaya only signed attacking players, and it's like they didn't sign anyone new or young, someone to lift up their, no offense, aging back line.
Yeah.
So it's a good signing for the side of Kaya to add in a new defender to their lineup.
Always exciting when new faces are introduced to see how they fare at this PFL level. By the way, thank you to everybody who's been tuning in and enjoying the action on the pitch and everything that we do around it. 3 million views on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube. We're up almost 1,000 subscriptions. So you guys are showing us love, and we appreciate it because it's getting out there to other people and the community is growing. So thank you guys very much, and shout out to all the fans who make themselves heard on the chat. We love it. We are encouraged by it. So we appreciate you, and we hope you guys keep that coming our way. All right. Games on this weekend, September 20th and 21st, will be at the Rizal Memorial Stadium and streamed on the PFL YouTube channel. So subscribe to PFL at WeArePFL on all social media platforms, and subscribe to Upstream Sports TV for more emerging sports live streams and features. So that's it. And once again, special thank you to our drinks partner, Thirst. They have been hooking us up with our beverages here at this show. So make sure that you guys kick off with savings this football season. Use the PFL code, use the code PFL 2025 on the Thirst app for special discounts. Thirst is the Philippines' only beverage marketplace, so download the Thirst app wherever you get your apps. All right. Again, that's it for us, guys. So another week of the Minsan Football Show.
Yeah.
It's so much fun. Claro, we missed you. We'll see you next week, we hope. My name is Jing Hamlang. Today I was the host, and maybe the host in the future of future programs when Claro is not around and too busy for us. So catch us again on the next installment of the Minsan Football Show presented by Upstream Sports TV. That's it.
Right.
Good night, guys.